We are missing a person at the moment. We've had a little technical issue, just literally as we were about to go live, and Christina is not with us, but she's trying madly to rejoin. So bear with us for a few minutes while we try and get that sorted.
This could be the very shortest live lunch ever.
Yeah. Mark, who doesn't talk, and me, who doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we've got a few things to talk about.
We have, yes. So we'll give Christina a couple of seconds to hopefully join us, and then if not, we'll have to carry on without her.
See, and it was me that wanted to make the excuse for not being here.
Yeah.
And now the boss has just let us down.
Yep, absolutely.
Or at least technology, anyway.
Yes, can't get the stuff or the technology.
Well, hopefully she'll be joining on her phone in a minute.
Yes, these things work every week.
Not even sure where she is today either.
No, me neither.
So
she might be at home.
See what background we've got when she does actually join.
But yeah, fingers crossed it won't be long.
Keep that dead air.
Or we can start talking about all the latest social media news without her. What do you reckon?
We can do. I mean, we've got a few bits and bobs, haven't we? Obviously, Amanda's not here today, but she has provided some statistical information in terms of some bits and bobs about what were the most searched terms on Google for 2021. There's some quite obvious ones, quite interesting ones. So the top 10 terms, according to the BBC site for 2021, were Euros, obviously football, Premier League. Oh, Paul's just asked, where is everybody? Yeah. Paul, you might be joining in a minute. And then, going down to things like COVID vaccines, Matt Hancock. They were the sort of UK sort of search terms. Oh, hey!
Hey!
Right, that's it. I was almost having to talk for a minute. You can carry on now. We'll come back to my thing later.
No, what you're saying. I'm still trying to figure out, you're really quiet, so you carry on.
Oh, no, we were just talking about saying that Amanda sent some bits over, even though she's not here, about search terms, what most search terms of 2021. So we were just looking at that, really. So lots of football related things, lots of obviously COVID related things. So yeah, what else was there? Top 10 searches starting with when will lockdown end? When will I get the vaccine? But then when does Love Island finish? So yeah, some random things there. And I think things like Squid Game and stuff in the TV side of things were obviously the big sort of search terms and things like that. So yeah, lots of different things.
It's funny when you think that this time last year it was all how to.
Amanda's there now. She can
join us, Amanda.
Look, Amanda said she wasn't joining because she was busy and she needed to get stuff done. Amanda, get in here now. I'm having technical issues. I'm like, we should have told Amanda she had to be here.
Oh dear! Don't freeze.
Yeah. But yeah, this you're really, really quiet as well. So I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I'm at home today rather than in the office.
Oh, she's there.
There she is.
I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I'm at home today rather than in the office. God, is that what I sound like?
Sorry, you were on a delay. I'm not dressed appropriately.
It's fine.
Well, I thought I was going to be heads down doing lots and lots of writing today, and I am, but I literally just finished a blog about 5 minutes before 12 o'clock. So I thought I'll make a drink and I'll put live lunch on in the background. And then I saw you were having tech problems and I was like, oh, I can't bear it. I'm going to join.
It was the most awkward 2 minutes of live lunch ever.
You styled it out. It was fine.
Oh, God. Nightmare.
I'll have to go and watch it back because it's like the show must go on. I was like, so I could join in the background, but I had no camera. And I was just like, just start it and I'll join. They were like, no.
Oh, dear. Oh, there you go.
So yeah, looking at those search terms, like I said, what's funny, I guess, to me is the fact that the all the search terms this time last year were starting with how to or how do I, because everyone was kind of like, people weren't wanting to go to the shops. They didn't want to get involved in the, the big crowds and all that sort of stuff. I think we're all far more relaxed about that now. Well, majority of people, I think, are a bit more relaxed about everything. And like, even with, Boris's announcements and stuff yesterday, it's kind of like, this is something we're going to have to just keep living with, isn't it? I don't think it's ever really going to fully go away. But it's interesting. What do you reckon about having to work from home again? Obviously, Amanda, you're like, yeah, just another day.
To me, I was listening to the announcement and was like, yeah, same old, same old.
Yeah, but do you have to show like a COVID pass to get into your office?
I did. I just stand at the door, show it
Yeah,
to the cat.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, enter.
Yeah, that's
No,
it.
to be fair, I do. I have been out a little bit more. So, I've got a client that I do some work with down here that I'm sometimes face to face with. Obviously, we were starting to get out and do some meetings. So, although they were winding down because of the time of year. So yeah, not a huge change. But yeah, that the data that people are looking for, obviously that appealed to me with my kind of geeky data head on of what people are searching. But you're totally right, Christina. I think it's changed from a lot of how-tos to when, and just generic searches. So when and who. So we're quite, maybe we've got like nosier since we've been locked down at home alone. So there's a lot of, as you say, who went out of Love Island, who's Matt Hancock was one of the, who's he been fooling around with. I don't know why people wanted to see that, but that was one of the biggest search terms. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting, kind of entertainment, drama. I'm afraid we all still like a bit of drama. So the Euros was really high up there on the search terms, and I've Paul Christian Eriksen, that's the chap, the footballer's name, who had the cardiac arrest, so he was high up there. So there's lots to kind of unpick from there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, obviously that there's a few articles on that, and then there's things like the Bernie Sanders thing, Bernie Sanders mittens as well. I think was another one, wasn't it? Obviously that was a start of the year, but yeah, things like Squid Game. There's quite a lot of different things in there. There's some things that you think globally as well about cricket, which obviously, to many people in this country, cricket's almost not like a minority sport, but it's not like football. Whereas, like, because obviously you've got a massive population in India, it's their national sport, so there's going to be billions of searches on cricket. And so, yeah, Australia versus India was another one right up there on the global list, apparently. So,
don't talk about the cricket at the moment. I don't think England's doing very well in the first test.
No, I saw the score.
But
Not
it goes
good.
to show, though, I think, people might kind of go, well, okay, fine. What's this got to do with us as marketing, other than just being kind of interesting? But it goes to kind of show, well, consumer behavior and our habits are really important. Knowing your personas or your avatars is really important, and being able to kind of pick up on those trends and weave it into your marketing, so that you're positioning, whether it's you're writing a blog or doing a live episode, that is something people will want to hear about. So it does. It's not just kind of like, oh, we're all Googling this. This is important topical information.
But the thing is, habits have changed so much over the last 2 years that I remember this time last year looking at, like, what are the trends for next year, and talking about the fact that you really needed to reconnect with why you do what you do and make sure that was in your content. Well, this year it's far more about, actually, how do we redefine who our ideal client is, not from a demographic perspective, but actually in terms of their interests, and more importantly in terms of their behaviors. Just that thing about the change in that search from the how to the what, that should influence your blog titles, the way you're pitching your any copy that goes along with your social media posts. This is something to pay attention to. And I think it is, we there's certain exercises when you're in business you kind of do once, like who's my ideal client, let me work on my avatar, and you do it and you give that avatar a name and all that kind of stuff, but you forget that over time things change. And I mean, you know, anyone that is in a business related to anything like tech, software, in the last 2 years, like we've, in terms of innovation and progression, we've leapt forward. Things like the metaverse that people are starting to talk about now is it's kind of, it's that Star Trek thing where you think, oh, it won't be in my lifetime, but it might be in my kid's lifetime. Well, actually, it's like it's already here. It's maybe 2-3 years before it's mainstream, but you know, it's certainly within the next 10 years, we'll all have had that experience of being within the metaverse, even though we don't understand it yet.
Yeah, we'll be doing this with VR headsets on.
I know, and you know, and they're talking about, like, have you read anything on it, like the metaverse stuff?
Only the bits that we've sort of spoke about briefly.
See, I think Mark has someone. I was going to call you a gamer. Then is that even the right title? I don't know. So someone likes those games on the computer. You know, it's like the metaverse. It's, you know, I don't even know what the words are to say what I'm trying to say, but it's like you'd be in the room with these people, with these characters. You'd, you know, I don't know, go to do whatever you do in these games, and you'd feel like, you know, it's like if you go to shake someone's hand in the metaverse, there's going to be like sensual things, like you'll feel the pressure in your palm.
Yeah.
And was sensual the right word then? Maybe not.
Sensory, I think, is where you get
sensory. Yeah.
That's a whole different type of.
I know, that's like 14th of February live lunch, isn't it? That's not pre-Christmas live lunch. Yeah, how am I going to get myself out of this big hole? But yeah, Mark,
you can use the digger.
Yeah. So just for that, there's my daddy, God love him. He's got, like, for years we've had this big pig digger, and it's just sort of there basically in the front garden. And I was showing them all a picture the other day, hence the little inside joke stroke reference there. So now you're all a little bit in my world. But yeah, going back to the metaverse thing, Mark, you must be sort of, you know, intrigued by it, excited by it, and the possibilities there.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, from a gaming point of view, obviously there's things out there now that are VR sort of based and things. So obviously it's an extension to that, because the VR games I've played are not particularly multiplayer type things. They've just been almost more immersive experience type things, and it is mad. I mean, I have had a VR headset for the PlayStation, and for me, I just couldn't get on with it. It did actually make me feel a bit queasy, to be honest, but maybe that was the games I was playing. But when I first had it, I was sitting there in the chair. The next thing you know, I'm like somewhere over here because I think I'm moving, and I wasn't almost in the chair, because you're moving around and you think it does make you feel that you're really, you know, in this sort of different space, and it is, you know, it's totally different experience. But I suppose as technology advances and people get more used to it, you know, it will become, you know, matter of fact. And, you know, like we say, this type of meeting, you will be jumping into it, and you will feel like you're in a, you know, room together and things like that. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of possibilities for it.
We've already started to hear of things like you know, like interview scenarios playing out in the metaverse and stuff like that. It's crazy, cool, but crazy. Yeah. So yeah. So what else have you guys been, like, what have you been seeing this week in terms of news, or what have you been seeing in terms of like trends for next year?
Dead silence.
Come on, Jane, you've always got something.
I've mainly got news stuff this week. There's stuff that's happening rather than trends. So, yeah, I can't really answer the trends question at the moment.
Go on, go for it. What have you seen?
So things that have been happening in the social media world. So Twitter is testing a full screen display thing on their Explore tab. Basically, they're making it look like TikTok. Funny that everyone's making everything look like TikTok. So some tweets will display in a sort of full screen vertical scrolling format, and even the little buttons at the bottom are going to look pretty much like TikTok. So that is just a test at the moment, but I think that's the thing, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon of TikTok because it's so big and because everyone's suddenly loving it. I'm not sure that I think it's a good idea for every platform to make themselves look like TikTok, because why, it's the thing in these platforms is that they're better because they're different, aren't they? And you go to one thing to do one thing, and you go to somewhere else to do something else. If they all look like each other, what's the point? So but I'm not sure what I think about that one, really.
But it's like we're looking at user behavior. Yeah. So the way people are consuming content is, it's changing. The rise in TikTok's popularity is because of that content form, because of the layout of the app. TikTok's growing faster than YouTube is at the minute. It's overtaken YouTube in terms of users and all that kind of stuff. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah. So there's a site called App Annie, and they do like all the apps that are out there, all of the digital platforms. They basically track usership. And there's a really cool graph that they've got at the minute that sort of shows the history of the two platforms in terms of daily active users, and it is literally the lines have just crossed over, and it is like TikTok is the platform people are going to. Now, part of that I think is that once you're in TikTok, it takes you 45 minutes to get out of it again. You can watch a 5-minute YouTube video, and get out pretty quickly, but. Absolutely bizarre in the way that it just sucks you in on TikTok. But yeah, it's a bit like stories. Everyone was mad for stories, and they were everywhere. And then the platforms work out, do their users really want it from them? And obviously, we saw with LinkedIn, they pulled it back. Was it September, October time? We lost stories from LinkedIn because no one was adopting it, no one was using it there, and yet, stories have been massive everywhere else.
Still only feels like Instagram though, to me, for stories.
Yeah, I don't look at Facebook ones often.
I know you obviously can cross post and things, but I'm definitely more likely to look at a story on Instagram than I am Facebook.
Yeah, me too.
And you can tell by the amount of people, just on a personal level, if put a story on Instagram, you get more views on Instagram than you would Facebook, even though I've got more friends on Facebook than I have on Instagram.
Yeah, it's funny. I think mine's put 50-50 really between Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, maybe it's because it's the original. It still feels like it's.
And we don't like change. Let's look at our habits. We're not good with change as a collective.
Depends what it is, doesn't it?
Partly human in general and partly age. Like, I must admit, even as a marketer, I find the whole kind of metaverse, VR, AR, whatever you want to call it, I find it quite overwhelming. I place a lot of value on human contact and like meaningful interactions. And I feel like it's going to take something away from that. But equally, I'm kind of like, well, I'm curious about it. And I know it's going to become a thing, even to things like you can go and view a house through virtual reality now. So, which again, a lot of house building companies were embracing throughout lockdown. So, are things like that going to become more mainstream? And I can certainly see the benefit. But yeah, as you say, we're not always good with change. And I find it a bit overwhelming.
Do you know what it makes me think of? What's that Disney film where it's like, no, it's not Disney, it's Pixar. Is it Wall-E or Wall-E or whatever it's called?
Wall-E.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and everyone, like, we don't, I nearly swore then. Like, we don't have to do anything. We just sit on our backsides, put a headset on, and we can have a walk around Tesco's and do the shopping. We can go and view the house, we can have the job interview, we can meet up with our friends and socialise, and it's like, you know, we're all going to need bigger chairs, wider seats. You know, it's like it's really, you know, it is exciting. Like the world we're in terms of, you know, digital marketing, social media marketing, like all this stuff coming, it's just crazy. The stuff I look at today versus the stuff I was looking at 2 years ago, it's like I can't even put it into appropriate words. So it is exciting, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh, it's encouraging bad behavior. So we were talking earlier about, I think Mark, you brought it up about the Instagram, having time out on Instagram.
Yeah, I was caught a glimpse of that. Can't be honest, I didn't read the detail on it, but I saw it was like a tool they were sort of implementing for, I think it was mainly for parents and teens to be able to control sort of time and things on there.
Yeah, but like if you look at how much time we all, not even kids, but you know, all of us spend using social media, the time you spend scrolling, you know, and it's like,
you know it's bad when Instagram says there's no new post to show.
Or you start getting like a tendonitis thing down there because like,
Your thumb,
roll with your thumb.
But you know, it's like all this stuff it's just going to encourage things like that. You know, we have to, as individuals, we have to make the choice to go, right, I'm putting the phone away. I'm going to go out there and do something, and I'm not just going to rely on online shopping for everything. I am actually going to go and have a walk about and go and do X, Y, Z. And it's kind of hard because everyone likes convenience. Everyone wants convenience.
I think it's going to be it's a bit like the working from home thing and stuff. I think there's always going to be a bit of both. I think there's going to be some really good benefits to anything. Well, most new technologies, there's good benefits, but also you still need some of those personal things and in-person events and things like that. So obviously the last year we've seen we've done obviously online events, and we've just started doing sort of in-person events, and there's been really good benefits to both. But and again, like working from home, there's benefits from working from home, but it's also nice to be in the office.
Benefit to working from home for us is you can actually get some work done because our office is so rowdy. It's like as soon as you go into our office for a day, you're behind. You know,
it was very quiet yesterday. We had a very productive day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Who's the common denominator then that makes it rowdy versus?
I think there might be three common denominators.
She's staying tight-lipped on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was in all seriousness. I was going to say it's like, you know, the events, the face-to-face events. It's like last week, this week, and to be honest, the first half of next week as well. It's just like I've been all over the place, really. I've kept nice and safe, of course, and I've been doing my tests and yada yada yada. So you know, that's not why we're all at home today. But it's so nice to be just with people, you know, those. So last weekend there's a community called Queens in Business, and it's like female entrepreneurs, business owners. Actually, do you know what? It isn't just entrepreneurs and business owners. There's lots of people in that community that are in work as well. They're employees, but they've got that sort of entrepreneurial spirit. And it's not one of these like women's networking communities that are fluffy. It's like it's women that want to do better, be better, have success, like driven, that kind of thing. And it was such a positive environment. Like it's just, there was so like, you know, you go into an event and the energy is just like, before anyone's even said anything, the energy gives you a kick up the backside, and you're like, yeah, you know, we're in good company. It was one of those events, and There was awards with it as well, and I've been shortlisted for a couple of awards. Unfortunately, I didn't win. But when you saw the other people I was up against, it's like, I was a nobody, really. There's like,
I'm sure that's not true, but congratulations
one of the
that.
awards, that the woman that won it was so there's a magazine called Global Women, and Eva Martins, she won the award. I mean, she just blew me away. She spoke in the day, and I'd never met her before, and it's like the stuff she was talking about, I was just like, wow, absolutely wowed by. And when I sort of looked in depth at what it is she's doing, and it's like, people on this front cover, it's like Scarlett Johansson, and it's, this is like, it's top level stuff. So it's just such a privilege to be shortlisted, against names like that. But even in that scenario, it's like an award ceremony, and usually it's like an industry award and everyone knows everyone, and someone's maybe won, and you're like, they've won because they've paid the money, rather than all that kind of thing. There was none of that here. It was all like, everyone was so excited by everyone that won. Everyone in that room felt like the other people there were so inspiring that if they were the one to win, they were like there was one particular woman who was like the community member of the year kind of thing, and she just burst into tears. She was just literally in absolute shock, and she really, when someone's the heart of a community. Well, the whole time I've been part of this, I've only ever spoken to these people through Facebook. Live videos, or the Facebook rooms within the Facebook group and stuff like that. But to suddenly be in a room together and have that buzz and everything else, and and people be rewarded for showing up, and all of that stuff. It was just fantastic. So I had that at the weekend, and then yesterday I was our accountant. So N Accounting used to be Northants Accounting. They ran a quarterly strategy day, like a 90-day planning day for some of their clients, and Nishi asked me to attend and do a section on funnel marketing. So I went and did that, and again, there were about 20 people in the room, and it's just like, every time you feel a group of people coming together at the minute, you just feel this mass of everyone wanting to support everyone else, everyone being on this sort of success journey. And it's just face-to-face events right now are so nice. For a minute then, I forgot we were on live lunch. I was just like having a bit of a moment to myself. Sorry, guys. Talk amongst yourself, viewers.
You can only have a face-to-face event now, so you can't have meetings or go and work in the office, but you can have a party.
I know.
I know, controversial, isn't it?
Controversial.
I don't want to get political, but it just made me. Because we're in Christina and I are in a WhatsApp group called the Lonely Marketers, and people were kind of pointing out the weirdness of it all. In I think it was last year, you couldn't have a party, but you could have a meeting, or you could only have a drink in a pub if you had a meal. So you had to have a sit-down meal and a meeting, and then you could get together. Whereas this year, you're not supposed to work together, but if you have a bit of a party, you're all good.
As long as it's under 500 people, you sorted, haven't you, or something?
Yeah.
So let's open something up for conversation then, since you've almost raised it. Okay, so there's a few people in our team that they're quite new to the business. They're sort of within their first 6 months working with us and trying to promote the culture that we have. I mean, I do think we do a good job, but I think proximity is a big part of that. That's why we have this kind of, 3 days in the office, 2 days at home sort of rule. And that's nothing to do with COVID. It is literally to do with our proximity, because we have got strong characters and we do have a good old laugh, and everyone does get behind on their work when we're all together. We sort of, I think we know where we're buggers, basically. Always good to know what your bad points are, isn't it? And So I was thinking about this last night, and just from a well-being perspective, I think that people have a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment being in that environment in the office. It is quite as a social media agency, we are when we're in the office together, we're quite a social bunch. And I think we've all been able to manage ourselves to go, right, I'm going to, can I work from home today because I've got a lot to catch up on, because yesterday we all know the hilarity that went on. So it kind of feels a little bit like everyone working from home, from a well-being perspective, I'm not sure it's going to be a good thing for our team.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just obviously, I know people that not at GU, but they really don't want to ever go back to the office, and there's some people that really like working from home, and it doesn't bother them at all. But then other people, yeah, it's an important part of being able to go back. So yeah, I suppose it's individual, but yeah, I mean, me and Jane spoke about it briefly this morning, and obviously it's a bit of a personal thing. It doesn't, like, obviously the recommendation is to work from home, but if obviously if you can, but I'd still rather go in the office, if that makes sense. If we can't, we can't, and if you say, oh, actually no, we need to not be in there, that's fine, but I'd still like that option to go in for me. But yeah, I think it's individual, obviously, for everyone, and I suppose some people still perhaps feel uncomfortable. Obviously no one in the team obviously does, I don't think, but it's a weird one. But yeah, I'd definitely prefer to go.
What were you going to say, Amanda?
Well, having written quite a few sort of blogs and articles on this recently, so it's just, we often say our work can kind of, it sort of migrates into different places. Like we did loads of websites in the first lockdown. So I'm still, now the copywriting I'm doing is less website copy, it's more blogs and articles, so people are looking for content, and there's a lot to talk about. But I have done quite a few on hybrid working, remote working, all quite niche. So people are tailoring their articles to their audiences, which is great. It means I'm not writing exactly the same thing each time. A, from plagiarism point of view, and B, just to keep me interested. But I've been thinking about it a lot and researching it a lot, and I think it really is completely unique. And I think sometimes the remote working, it can kind of exacerbate sort of socio-economic discrepancies. So it's great if you have a space that you can work from home. You're not fighting over a dining room table, for example. If you've got care needs, if you've got children, you might even have, because care kind of goes up as well as down, you might have parents, but particularly from children point of view, this Christmas school holidays will be kicking in soon, and we all know from homeschooling how difficult it is to try and work from home when you've got a mummy in the background. You just can't do it. So I think kind of if you're an employer, yes, okay, at the moment the guidelines are that we should work from home if possible, but when they're not, flexibility is kind of the watchword. You have to offer that flexibility, because some people want to go into the office, some people aren't as bothered. Most people like the hybrid model, but you kind of need to have that option. And I think it's a basic human right, is that we all kind of want to belong as well. So most of us want to be part of a tribe or a group or whatever you want to call it. That's kind of these are my people. So
I think this is the thing. So there are people in our team that are me and Jane, we've got 2 kids and a dog, and a husband as well. We'll count the husbands too, right? So when we're at home, we're not isolated. Okay. In another business, you might have, in a team much bigger than that. Let's say you've got a team of 30 people. You're going to have people that are on high wages. You're also going to have people that are, maybe in an admin role on minimum wage, a receptionist, or something like that, where actually for them to now work at home, the cost of an internet connection, the cost of heating the house,
Mm.
you know, all of a sudden, because they're working at home, they're earning less money. Okay, and it might be a really silly thing to think about, but it has an impact, and especially if, you know, if this goes on for a couple of months, you know, last time it went on for, you know, quite a while.
Mm.
There's that impact there. And if the culture of your business is such that someone can't say, wait, hold on a minute, then that person's really, really going to struggle, because it's going to be financial. It's going to be, you know, it's the sort of the mental well-being as well. It's like you said, maybe they're not, you know, you might be in, you know, a bit like Jane in a 5-bed mansion, you know, whereas the rest of us are, you know,
It's a castle.
It's not a castle. That's mean.
but you know, it's like, it's, you know, equally you might be in one room in a house share, or, you know, in a 1-bed flat living on your, and it's like, there's all these things. So if you haven't got the culture where someone can rock up and say, actually, you know, working from I appreciate the rules, but actually no, I can't work from home.
Mm.
You know, I think, you know, I think these are valid reasons. I really do. And they're probably reasons that people don't want to put forward.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think, you know, as you say, it's if you've got people around you, you're not isolated. If you lived on your own, you know, again, a lot of people are feeling more, you know, feeling it more acutely, that there's a sense of loneliness. You know, yes, okay, we can still go out a little bit at the moment, but, you know, hopefully it won't get to the point where we go back. But as you say, if you don't have a culture, or you don't have that communication that allows someone to go, do you know what, I'm you know, because it's quite a vulnerable thing to admit, isn't it, saying I'm lonely or it doesn't work for me. So yeah, I think that's a key thing. And again, in some of the articles I'm writing, it's about making sure that if you recruit new members to your team, you know, whatever your business, whether you're a recruitment company, a big corporate, you need to make sure that people are, you know, are okay to say, this doesn't work for me, I'm not okay, I've got the flexibility, so that they, you know, they can talk about how important it is when you come on board to be connected to somebody.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm looking at the time, and I think we'll wrap things up. It feels like a good time to wrap things up, doesn't it? So let's do that. How many more shows have we got before Christmas? Is it just next week, or have we got one the week after? Jane, you're
If we do one on the
charge.
23rd, it'll be Thursday the 23rd.
Okay, so we've got two before Christmas. Fab. So let's get some guests sorted. Let's get some guests on for the 23rd. Let's have a think about who we can ask for that.
I think Christmas jumpers / festive wear mandatory on the 23rd.
Oh, you and your Christmas jumpers.
I'm surprised you're not actually, even though you weren't prepared, I'm surprised you're not in a Christmas jumper.
I am saving myself for tomorrow at the moment.
Oh, right.
Tomorrow is Christmas jumper day,
Jumper
the Save
Day.
the Children Christmas jumper day. So, but yes, I do have. Oh no, hang on, look.
Here's one I made earlier.
I've got my Santa hat. I can't get on my head because I've got a hair clip on, but you know me. Normally something topical nearby.
Amazing.
Oh dear.
Cool.
There
Okay. On that note, we'll see you next Thursday, 12 noon, for another episode. Hopefully I won't have any tech issues next week, and I'll be back in the office.
We might have, because we're not in the office.
Oh,
yeah.
crap. Yeah, we're having an away day next week. I'm quite excited. Jane and Mark are like, are you sure? It's going to be fun. I've got some cool exercises for us to do. It's going to be brilliant.
Oh, God.
Team building.
Could
We're
we
gonna
out
come
like building
together as
rafts
one.
and stuff and things like that? Are we?
Maybe.
Climbing mountains in Braunston.
We should. Oh, damn, I wanted to talk about Jane's. Right, we'll talk about that next week. Jane climbed a mountain last night.
A virtual mountain. Why have you covered your face?
You know when you say something and then you hear it? Okay, right, we're going. We'll see you all next Thursday at 12 noon for another Green Umbrella live lunch. Bye for now.